Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have the pleasure to introduce to you Carolyn Everson. Carolyn, what is your job?
I work at Facebook. I run global marketing solutions, and I've been there for 4 years.
Anybody heard about Facebook? Raise your hand. Good, one heard about it. So
That's good. Anybody else you can join, help our numbers, it'll be great.
Carolyn, couple of just biographical notes. Before Facebook,
I was at Microsoft for 9 months only,
And
until
before?
Cheryl called. Viacom for 8 years. Disney, Zagat, mostly media companies.
mostly incumbent media companies.
Media companies doing digital early on, and then I needed to go learn all the other types of marketing, and then back to digital.
How life in Facebook different from all your former experiences?
I think the culture at Facebook is incredibly unique. It's a special culture, probably because the platform is personal. We tend to have a very personal connection to everybody that we work with. It's a mission-based company. At its core, everyone there is there for a reason, to support the mission that Mark started 11 years ago. We move very quickly. It's very entrepreneurial. We fail, and that's okay. It's rewarded when you fail. It's a really special culture.
But I must say that I had the pleasure of meeting some of your staff when you were in MTV.
Yes.
And all of them looked to me very bright, very loyal. Maybe all of them were a little bit in love with you or something like this, but at least they were very passionate about their work. And so you could find a great culture also in old-time companies.
There's no question. I think that I had a fantastic career at MTV, and many of my colleagues are still there, and they're doing fantastic work. But I think that the opportunity at Facebook for me has been the best fit for what I want to do, what I want to contribute back to the world. And it allows me not only to do the things I care about from a social point of view, but also from a business point of view to fundamentally rethink marketing.
Good. So when you wake up in the morning, what keeps you busy for the rest of the day?
Wow. This is awesome doing this with Yossi, by the way, because my team sends a script, and it's like useless.
I told you, no,
Just to be clear, and I knew that was going to happen. Everyone was making fun of me backstage. They're like, "Why are you even preparing?" I was like, "I don't know."
We will get to the point.
Oh no, it's okay. I will tell you what I do in the morning. I make pancakes.
Let me ask you, what is more interesting to you? What Carolyn is doing in the morning, or what a view about international things which keep the CMOs of the rest of the world occupied? Who is for the first one? Raise your hand.
We'll talk about it. I make pancakes for my twin daughters.
Good.
That's about one of the only things I can make. And, you know, my day is, every day is different, but I'll tell you the things that are pretty consistent. One, spending time with my team. I think leading people, hiring the right people, ensuring the people you have stay is the most important thing any leader can do. Number two, taking care of my clients. Really serving their business needs. So I spend a lot of time talking to clients. And inevitably, there's 100 things that I didn't think I was going to have to do that morning that come up. And it's a bit like whack-a-mole. You go from one thing to the next. But
Good.
I love it.
Okay, so now after you express your view about my interviewing style, let's go.
It's okay, Yossi. It's totally, we can talk. We should go from breakfast. We should talk about dinner, too.
No? As being in charge of Facebook international marketing?
It's global. So
Global?
U.S. as well as
US
international.
also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are really the issues which keep CMOs today, and how Facebook can help them?
The number one thing on CMOs' minds is growth. Because at the end of the day, that's what they're charged to do. They're charged to not only grow their brand, but obviously to move product off the shelf, move cars off the lots, whatever their business objective is, and everyone's focused on growth. And in many industries, single-digit growth is really the best that that particular industry can do. And so they're focused on how do we enable them to grow their business in a more efficient manner. That's number one. They're really focused on talent. They're having a very difficult time finding talent that is willing to think in a different way, because many people that have grown up in the marketing side of the business has grown up doing things traditionally for the last couple of decades, and they want new thinking. They want people to challenge the status quo. They're worried about new entrants, things like Dollar Shave Club that comes out of nowhere, things like e-commerce companies that are coming out of China and Israel every day that are getting funded to challenge the traditional models. But the number one thing at the end of the day is growth.
And how you help them achieving this?
Well, I think that's changed a lot. When I got to Facebook, we were a social business. We talked about likes and shares and comments. And while I used to say social metrics are nice, business metrics are better, and at the end of the day, clients shouldn't pay us $1 unless we're driving their business. And so we're obsessively focused on, for every dollar that gets invested on our platform, are we delivering a good ROI? Are we moving market share? Are we selling products? And so we are maniacally focused on driving business outcomes for them. And our entire engineering team is now really geared towards building products and solutions for client needs. That's a very different culture than it was 4 years ago.
But without the social underlying machine, what would happen to your traffic?
Well, there is no question that underneath it all, the underpinning of why 1.44 billion people are coming is they're coming for connections. 1.44.
44 billion.
Yes.
As of
but we're going to get a few more after this session, so I'm confident, because we only had 1 or 2 here, so I think we can get a few more.
You know, Carolyn, Alexander Mokadon, the famous Roman general, was known that he knew the name of all his soldiers. He had 18,000 of them or something like this. He knew all their names. Do you know the names of all your 1.44 billion?
No, because we don't share personally identifiable information.
Very good. Okay, so you have the... She's a tough cookie, this lady. She looked very nice, but behind it... You know, I used to tell my wife that she has a silk glove over an iron fist. This is my wife, not you.
Okay, well, I'd like to meet her.
Okay, let's talk. So you are now focusing on providing business value to your customers, help them grow. You are trying to do it in a way which will not alienate your users. And in this process, aren't you losing a little bit of the soul? You know, the naivete, the freshness of the early days of when everybody was very naive and...
Well, there are, out of the 1.44 billion people, there is a subset of people that have never seen an advertisement on Facebook. They're a holdout group. And they will never see an advertisement, because what we always do on a daily basis is measure the level of engagement. And is the marketing that we're doing with our partners, is that adding to the experience or is it taking away? And you can measure it in the level of engagement. And we've been able to, by controlling the amount of advertising, so your news feed isn't flooded with messages, it's very thought through about how many messages a day you see, we're able to hopefully make that experience better. Our belief is that marketing actually is additive when it is the right message to the right person. And so we just had the BMW gentleman on this stage. If I were to ask how many people bought a car this past weekend, did anybody buy a car? Usually I get one person. Okay, nobody bought a car. Is anybody going to buy a car in the next 30 days? Couple. So now imagine I'm BMW and I'm thinking about advertising. I guarantee all of us are going to see television ads around cars every single night on every show. Wouldn't it be great if BMW knew those 2 people were in the market in the next 30 days, could send them a very targeted message? Maybe one likes a sports activity vehicle, even though I know Shelley called it a truck, or if one would like an electric vehicle. That's the kind of efficient targeting marketing that can be done, and that's additive to people's experience. And that's what we're trying to do with Facebook, that every time you see a message, it's as good as the content you would see from your family and friends.
I'm dying to ask a question, but I'm not sure it will be appropriate, you know, so if you don't like to...
Has that ever worried you?
How this attitude of you compare to the G-word attitude?
How does Facebook compare to the Google?
No, how you're trying to target the customers, in a very elaborate and precise and scientific and almost surgery way compared to the targeting of, let's say, other players in the market space, e.g. G.
So there's different types of targeting, and it's really about the environment you're in. Google's done a fantastic job with intent-based targeting. You go in, you're searching for a specific item, and you can be served up solutions and opportunities, and that makes a lot of sense. We are in a discovery environment. That is essentially what Facebook Newsfeed is. If you look at things that took off completely, like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge that came out of nowhere, that was a discovery mechanism. And if you ask people today where they have seen a certain video, they will tell you they've discovered it in their Facebook Newsfeed, even if it's a YouTube video. So the question is around the environment. Are you going to be in a discovery environment on Facebook? Are you going to be in an intent-based environment in Google? Now, I will say we're doing 1 billion searches per day on Facebook and growing. And so I think the entire space of search is going to be redefined based on the environment that we have now with the social graph.
Did you have a chance to see Scott Galloway presentation from DLD in Munich, the Four Horsemen?
I did not.
Okay, so please look at it after the session and send us an email what you think about his forecasts. Like he tried to forecast Apple vis-a-vis Facebook, vis-a-vis Google, vis-a-vis Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, and he started his session yesterday, which was not less amazing, by showing how wrong he was in January. So
that he was wrong in January.
Yeah.
But you still want me to watch it.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I want you to send all of us email what you think about it.
Okay, great.
Let's talk a little bit about videos. Videos
Yes.
is becoming more and more important in the space, and same in Facebook.
So we had to become a mobile company. You know the story. Everyone knows the story by now. We were a desktop company, and we had to shift dramatically about 3 years ago.
And you did.
And we did. As fast as mobile is growing, video is growing as fast, if not faster. 50% of people on Facebook see one video a day. 50% of almost 1 billion people are seeing one video a day. It is growing anywhere between 65 and almost 100% in terms of uploading of video and consumption around the world. So video, the format of video on mobile, particularly as smartphone and connections become better and faster, is absolutely the more dominant way that people are looking to share and tell stories. And it's really interesting because what it does is it boils up to visual communication in general, which is why Instagram also has taken off dramatically. The younger generation coming up, they rarely use text-based information. One, they believe they live in borderless societies, right? They don't need a specific language to communicate. They use visual. They use photos, video, emoticons, emojis. And so we think video, there is a chance that video becomes the predominant way newsfeed is experienced in the next few years. And that's going to dramatically change how people tell stories. The good news for marketers is we've always loved video, right? Ever since I've been in the business, we've loved to tell stories through video. The difference with video on mobile, be it with Facebook, Instagram, or ESPN, or any other major app that's out there, is there's new things to think about, which is what is going to be thumb-stopping creative? What is going to stop you in your tracks, which means those first few seconds and how you tell your story are really important, whereas the story arc of a 30-second spot was very different. And the second thing, which I say often, and people are like, wow, I didn't think about that, is a lot of people experience video on their phones with sound off. And so how do you think about telling your story if the consumer doesn't necessarily have their sound on? That's another consideration creatively that we're working through. I think it's super exciting.
What do you think is kind of the, Steffi, just ignore this lady over there because she wants to cut us short.
We're getting
but
cut off.
I have another three questions to. Who want me to ask her another 3 questions?
That's supposed to catch a plane.
I see. Just one last thing. You made great acquisitions. Larry, 1 minute. You made great acquisitions in the last few years. Some
Yes.
of them look rather expensive. How did they enhance the offering of Facebook?
The acquisitions that the 2 most important ones in the short term, and then there's one long term. One is, of course, Instagram, which is now at 300 million, growing incredibly quickly and becoming the dominant way millennials communicate. So that, I think, acquisition has turned out to be incredibly incredibly fortuitous for us and one that is going to be very valuable to marketers. WhatsApp in the messaging space, between WhatsApp at 800 million and Facebook Messenger at 600 million, we are trying to very much have strongholds in the messaging community because messaging has taken off dramatically around the world.
You are not trying anymore, you are having.
Well,
Trying is over.
we have two very important properties in the space. And the real notion is that we want to help people share, connect, and discover in any way they want to. And messaging is a key strategy for that. The acquisition that will hopefully pay off in the long term, and one we're very excited about, is, of course, Oculus. And the opportunity to experience things virtually, education, health, entertainment in a virtual way, I think is going to fundamentally change every industry. It's going to take time, but we're very excited about it, and we see that as the next platform.
And the last question, which I cannot do without, I understand that very recently you traveled overseas. Where did you
Yes.
travel and what was your experience?
I took my entire global leadership team to Israel, and it was Yossi has been asking me to go to Israel for probably 12 years, and we made it, and I took my family, and it was by far and away one of the most impactful trips that we have ever been on as a family, but also as a leadership team. I think the essence of the community of Israel and how they think entrepreneurially, they do not stand for the status quo. They find solutions when solutions aren't given to them, be it their environment and how they've transformed it. It was really inspiring. We met with incredible amounts of entrepreneurs. Our team left not only inspired from a history perspective and culture, but also from a business standpoint. The culture was very similar to a lot of the things I think we try to do at Facebook. And my daughters, we all got to float in the Dead Sea and put mud on and see the old city. It was fantastic. Loved it. So I made it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn Everson, the one and only.
Thank you. Thank you.